Good morning, Slu. Hi. We are happy to have another visitor with us this morning. This is Jamie, and she is from the Savannah College of Art and Design, which is in Savannah, Georgia. So you can tell from the name of the school that this is probably somewhat different than quite a few of the colleges and universities that we have visiting. But we're going to ask Jamie to tell us what are the differences. First of all, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And we would love to get just a general overview of Savannah College of Art and Design.
Of course. Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here today. So just a little bit more information about SCAD. We actually have several different campus locations. So we have our main campus in Savannah, Georgia, where we have about 11,000 students. We have a campus in Atlanta, Georgia, where we have 3,000 students. We have a study abroad location in Lacoste, France, where we take 70 to 100 students at a time. And then we also have an online platform as well, where we roughly have about 1,500 students at a time. Student body-wide, we have about 15,000 students currently attending SCAD, which is really amazing. We have student representation from every single US state. We have about 112 countries currently represented with a 30% international student body rate. To go along with that, we are an art and design specific school. So we currently offer more programs of study and specializations than any other art and design school in the US. We have 44 different majors. We have 75 minors, and that will encompass everything from game design, architecture, interior design, graphic design, fashion design, fibers, painting, photography, all of these different majors. So those are all going to be things that we specialize in. Students are getting a full 4-year degree. We don't do certifications or associate's degrees. Everything is a full BFA. So students are coming in, fully accredited school, and are getting a very thorough and comprehensive education.
Wow, I had no idea it was that large, Jamie.
Yes.
11,000. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, that's
Mm-hmm.
incredible. So the 4 campuses, that's very cool. Do
Yeah.
students who are on the Savannah campus frequently, do you do like, I guess a certified or a study abroad Lacoste? Do they get a chance to go to that campus? Is that something that happens pretty frequently
Oh,
or?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
So
good.
we encourage every student. So when a student is applying to SCAD and if they're accepted, they are applying and accepted to every campus location, and they can seamlessly transition around between those. So some students will alternate between Savannah and Atlanta. Every student does have an opportunity to go to Lacoste. It's never required, but it is always encouraged, of course, and it's not a hard sell to go over to the south of France to study for a quarter. So
Hello, no, yeah.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, what's
Yeah.
the town of Savannah like?
Oh, Savannah's beautiful. It's a very historic city. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures, but the architecture is amazing. For SCAD itself in Savannah, we have about 80 buildings spread throughout the historic district. So our campus is basically the most beautiful part of the city, and everything is within a 2-mile radius. We have lots of little coffee shops, eateries, specialty galleries, and stores that a lot of our alumni who have stayed in Savannah have opened. So Savannah itself, the local population is about 250,000 people. So it is a smaller city, but then you have everything there that you're going to need to be, that you would have access to in a city.
Yeah.
Um, so overall, it's beautiful, has a very whimsical feel. We're about 25 minutes away from the ocean. So if coastal access is important for students, we do have that at our Savannah campus.
What a neat opportunity. That's great. It sounds kind of just like I imagine it, but I really need to get down there and visit.
Yeah, you should.
I'm sure it would be whatever I'm seeing to the 10th power.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Oh, that's so neat to hear. So tell me about, I guess I'm wondering with art and design, I'm sure a lot of it is about the student faculty relationships and making those connections. And I know that to get a good job in the art field, and it's really important that you have those connections and that you have that established degree from a reputable institution, and SCAD is that. Do you have any maybe kind of examples of those student faculty relationships and class size and things like that that really show off SCAD particularly?
I actually love that question because that's something, individualized attention between a student and the faculty members is really something we prioritize. So our student professor ratio for lecture classes, those are usually the ones students are taking in the beginning. Those are all capped at 30 students.
Yeah.
Um, and then major classes are capped at 20 students. So the further into the major the student gets, they're probably going to be in a class, 15 to 20-ish max. So that allows the student to really communicate with the faculty. All of our professors are required to have at least 10 years of industry experience before they're allowed to teach at SCAD.
Wow.
So that way, they've already been there, they've already done that. So if the professor is teaching illustration, they've already worked in that industry and then can be a huge networking avenue, but also a resource for the students. And every student coming into SCAD does get assigned a faculty advisor within their specific major. So they also get a student success advisor. The faculty advisor is just extra, so somebody within their industry or within their desired field of work, they can be there to be a resource, to help them network and have those opportunities overall. But I mean, I feel we have countless stories of students who have worked alongside their professors. I know one student, Kaylee Carter, she graduated from performing arts, but she worked alongside one of our professors in performing arts, Craig Anton, he used to be the dad from the show of Phil of the Future.
Oh
I
my
don't know if you remember that show, but it's
God, of course. My
a
daughter
little,
was born in 93. I totally remember that.
yes. Okay. So he's the dad from the show. And so
Gosh.
it's just kind of funny to, brush shoulders with somebody like that in the hallways, but he worked with Kaylee and she has been incredibly successful, not as a result of just that, but just, a lot of different culminating things. She's also just an incredibly talented performer, but she has been in a couple major films. She's been on Netflix shows, Amazon, and things like that. So she's one that, is recently graduated just a few years ago, but worked directly with a lot of her faculty. Andra Reeve Rab, she's the former casting director for CBS. So she casted Big Bang Theory, How I Met Your Mother, NCIS, all of the CSIs. And she actually heads up that department at SCAD as well with entertainment arts. And a ton of those students have worked directly with her and have greatly benefited from her expertise. So
Wow.
there are many stories.
Yes. I feel like SCAD is kind of like the Harvard of the art schools, the art and design schools. Am I right in saying that?
I would say so.
Yeah.
A lot of times people ask us, how are you compared to this school or to that school? And it's really tough to compare. I just feel like SCAD is different. We are, we really want to integrate business into every aspect of what we're doing. We don't only want our students to be really great at their specific skills. We also want to help them get a job in those industries. So that's very much what we have, a dual focus there, which I think is unique and kind of sets us apart from a lot of other schools that could be compared to us.
Yes, that is totally it. That is totally unique. That is exactly how I wanted to phrase it before. I wanted to say, like, you're going to get the best training in your field, but you're also going to know how to do things like market yourself and have job experience before you graduate. And it's not just that you, like if you're an artist, if you've had a gallery show, but you've also learned the business end of things. Like if you want to have your own gallery, you'll have experience with that as well. Yeah, preparing students in the arts for the real world, while not sacrificing the quality of their preparation and experience within their field. Does that make sense? Yeah, yeah. So as much as maybe artists, how do, maybe this is a bad question to ask admissions, I should maybe be asking a faculty member, how do you get a reluctant art student to understand or the importance of and to understand business?
Well, I think if you start having those conversations early on, I mean, we start having those conversations freshman year. And I think we attract a very specific kind of student. I feel, a student going for maybe an easier casual degree is not going to be coming to SCAD because it's very intense. I will say that up front, we are very project heavy. Very hands-on. And so if a student is not passionate about their area of study or open to learning and working hard, they're probably not going to come.
Mhm.
So I will say that. And so some students, it's very easy to help them understand the importance of having business savvy or a knowledge or understanding of how that works in the long term, and how ultimately being able to articulate well about your work and what you're doing or what you're wanting to accomplish, your vision, and kind of bringing that to life for other people and having a pitch and being able to communicate well. You see immediately how important that is. And that is something that is practiced early on. A lot of our professors, they have time for open critique, and this is not a time for students to rip other students' work apart, but really to just do it constructively, which is giving feedback that's like, this is helping you get better, this is helping you articulate more, giving constructive criticism or feedback in that sense to really help a student understand it is very important to think through what you're creating. Why did you do it? Why did you choose certain colors? Why the medium? Why the platform? Whatever it might be. So that's something that we have discussions about very early on, and they start putting those things into practice. So that's a great question, though.
So that by the time they're ready to go out into the real world, it's more of a habit,
Yes.
as opposed to, oh, it's senior year, I better think about how I'm going to package myself. Well,
Yes.
not a
Yeah.
bad idea.
Yeah.
'Cause
It's never good to procrastinate in that sense. So
well, and then I feel like it's just going to be inauthentic. It
yes, absolutely. It's going to be forced.
has to
So,
be part of who you are. So it's great that
mhm.
you start that as soon as they arrive on campus. That's
Yeah,
fantastic. So, can we just talk for a few minutes about the admissions process?
absolutely.
Great.
So for admission, we operate on rolling admission, which
Okay.
means that we accept those applications year round up to 2 years prior to when a student would like to attend, and then up to 30 days in advance before the start of the quarter in which they would like to enroll as well. So a student who's a junior, starting junior, they are already eligible to apply. A senior a couple months out from fall quarter, they can also still apply. Waiting to the last minute is not recommended. It's going to be stressful for the student. We'll be okay, but they will probably be very stressed out. So I usually recommend students, if SCAD is on your radar, it's a school you want to pursue, apply early. The benefits of that is just going to be getting your advisor assigned specifically to you that walks you through next steps and helps you really figure out scholarship eligibility, financial aid in a pace that's not stressful.
Mhm.
If you give yourself 6 to 8 months, you'll also be completely fine. I just usually recommend students getting started a little bit earlier to start having those conversations with their educators and with the, helping prepare the portfolio and the resume.
Mhm.
Required materials will be the completed application. We do accept Common App, or they can apply directly through our website. There is a $60 application fee. And then after that, of course, we're going to need transcripts. We are waiving the SAT, ACT requirement for all incoming 2021 students, so they don't have to worry about that. We are having discussion about 2022. We might go test optional. Haven't decided yet. We're having conversations.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and then if it's an international student, we'll just need proof of English proficiency and of course visa information, but they will have an international advisor that will help with that as well and make sure that they're good to go, have everything in order that they need. Optional materials will include the resume, portfolio, list of extracurriculars, anything along those lines that they want to submit, letters of recommendation, they can submit 2 to 3. So those are optional, but used for scholarship opportunity. So without those materials, they will not be reviewed for the achievement scholarship, which ranges from 1,000 up to 7,500 every single year. So it's not to say that those aren't important. They absolutely are, but we don't require a portfolio anymore just because we have had tons of students who are very willing to learn, very passionate, very, driven, but maybe just didn't attend a school that had a thriving art program or offered AP art classes. And so they were then pursuing art outside of school on their family's money.
Uh,
So, things like that. So you can kind of tell or get a sense of a student by just having a phone interview at that point and
right.
see if this would be a good fit for them. But then students who have really applied themselves and worked really hard on their portfolios, we also want to reward them. So that's where the Achievement Scholarship comes in. We also offer an academic scholarship based off of their GPA. We used to do it based off of test scores as well, but we're putting that on hold for now, given circumstances. So that's just kind of a quick overview of the admission process. Is there anything else you wanted me to touch on?
Yeah, if you could, for performing arts students, are unified
Yes.
recommended, or do you do auditions on your own campus? Or
We do auditions on our own campus. We also do unified as well, but if students, they have a couple options. They can do an in-person audition. Right now, of course, those are being held virtually. So, but students can also submit a recording as well if they're more comfortable with that. So if students would like to record monologue, dialogue, song, dance, anything like that, they can submit a recording as well.
well, fantastic. And I would refer students to scad.edu for
Yes.
additional questions that they can find on the website. I tried not to ask questions like that
Yeah.
during the interview because I want it to be above and beyond what's available on
Thank
the
you.
website. So thank you so much for your time, Jamie. I really appreciate it today.
Yes, of course. Thank you
All
so
right.
much for having me.
All right.